I really do believe that one of the biggest mysteries of the Star Wars sequel trilogy has all to do with Rey's identity, her lineage, and her origins. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people, including myself, are really looking forward to seeing in this film by JJ and Chris Terrio is exactly what they will be doing with the character of Rey. Now, we do know that they will be giving this character a lot of twists and turns and surprises for the audience to see once they go ahead and see this movie. Now, these past couple of months or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with a major hint and or indicator that Rey may very well be the creation to that of Emperor Palpatine himself. Specifically, a description of Rey on a desert world, on her speeder eventually stopping in front of a tall structure. The next goes over Rey entering the structure that leads to a spiral stairwell that goes underground and beneath the surface of the planet. It's described that Palpatine's laugh is audible during the sequence as Rey goes down the stairs. Another goes over what appears to be cloning chambers, around 20 large cylindrical containers with tubes hooked up into the ceiling. A detailed description entails that Rey touches one of the containers and begins to cry as she looks down with her hand pressed against the glass. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this that really is raising a lot of questions about Rey's origins, her identity, and her lineage in this movie. Now, we do know that this movie is going to have a lot of surprises that will make us look at both the sequels, the originals, and the prequels in a totally different way. And honestly, Episode 9 does have a lot of power to it because we do know that J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio are really trying their very best in order for this film to not only connect into the originals, but also the prequel trilogy and other forms of Star Wars lore that are currently a thing in the Disney canon and or Legends and EU material. So the first thing that I do want to go over is this world. What planet are we on? Now, it's described as a desert world, which is likely going to be the planet of Jakku. And the reason as to why I bring this up is because Emperor Palpatine had a huge interest in Jakku for numerous reasons. If you guys have read some of the books out there, I won't go into spoilers about those books. But he does hold a large interest in that planet for multiple reasons. Now, there is one very interesting thing on the planet is, of course, the Jakku Observatory, which holds tons of Sith relics and artifacts that once also belonged to Emperor Palpatine. So, if we actually do go over this tall structure that has a spiral stairwell that leads to the pretty much beneath the surface of this planet, where it actually does have a lot of these cloning chambers with these tubes that attach to the ceiling. Now, could these very well be bacta tanks? Now, that's a possibility too, but it's more around the lines of a cloning chamber. If you guys have actually read some of the Dark Empire comics out there, you'll get an idea of what these cloning chambers really do look like. Now, the thing that really gets me is how when Rey apparently is going down the stairwell, she begins to hear the laughter of Emperor Palpatine in the distance. And that's kind of reminding me of what we got in The Force Awakens. Again, this is so J.J. Abrams. We got this in The Force Awakens to a certain level, where Rey is actually entering the basement of Maz Kanata's castle, and she hears voices of her younger self yelling and crying as her parents are leaving her on Jakku with Unkar Plutt. So, it seems as though that JJ is trying to create a similar sequence here, except where it's pretty much totally different, where it's Emperor Palpatine's laugh this time. Again, I think that this is yet another connection and a major hint and or indicator that Rey's identity may very well be tied to that of Emperor Palpatine, and that maybe she is indeed a clone, as many have been suggesting for the longest time right now. The last thing that really does get me is how it's described that Rey's hand is pressed against one of the cloning chambers, the glass itself, and tears begin to roll down her cheeks, her eyes, her face, right? So I think that she's getting emotional for a reason here. Why else would she be getting emotional when she touches the glass of this cloning chamber in the basement of this structure, which I believe is going to be the Jakku Observatory on the planet Jakku, that has ties with Emperor Palpatine? Again, we have heard that Emperor Palpatine will have a presence in this movie to a certain level, and I think that this is most definitely going to be the way it will be interacting with Rey as a character. Now, if Rey is indeed a character created by Emperor Palpatine, how exactly was she made? Does this mean that she's somehow connected to Luke Skywalker by use of the DNA of his hand, perhaps? You know, kind of tapping into EU and Legends material once more? Or is it going to be something entirely new? What do you guys think about this whole entire situation here? Why is she going down the basement of whatever structure this is on this desert world? And why is Emperor Palpatine's laugh audible to the character of Rey? And why is she getting emotional over touching one of the glass containers to that of what is being described as a cloning chamber? Honestly, guys, I think that, you know, if she does indeed end up being a creation of Emperor Palpatine, I'm not quite sure how I would really feel about that. I feel like that what should actually happen is that she would actually be connected to either Kenobi or Luke Skywalker or one of the main characters overall. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.